Good evening and welcome to Oulton Park in Cheshire for round 14 of the BSR GT Sprint Cup. Ashley Sutton took the win in the first race. Ashley Sutton, somebody who had very cruel luck in real life racing at Oulton Park in Formula 4, doing very well until a mechanical issue forced him into the pits. He lost a lap, but he's come back today with a vengeance, and Ashley Sutton, as a result of that, will be starting 20th on the grid. The top 20 is reversed. Of Oulton Park, there was only 27 drivers, so this is as close to a full reverse of the grid as we'll probably get all season. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens when the cars are reversed in that order. The first race, however, very close. 6 cars separated by just 3.6 seconds. It's Ashley Sutton who won the race after a very good battle with Jan Jose Sanchez. There's 0.7 separated. And Michael Stephen was 3rd, Ruben Velasco was 4th, Andres Quintana was 5th, and Christian Tanahoto was in 6th position. And as far as the championship goes, Juan Jose Sanchez currently leads the way with 329 points. Ruben Velasco is 2nd with 308, but he's just got 1 point between himself and Michael Stephen, who's 3rd in the championship with 307 points. In 4th place is Carlos Foss with 272. 5th place, Linus Brunstrom, he's got 242 and rounds out the top 5. And 6th is Fabio Gonzalez. 7th is John and Carlo Jungui. 8th, Sylvan Pomerade. And Ashley Sutton, 9th in the table following that win. So he's up to 9th in the championship. And running out of top 10 is Jose E. Vergara. So Oulton Park is on the full international circuit. The same one, if any of you watch the British touring cars, are running exactly the same layout as that one. So Ashley Sutton is somebody who probably didn't need much practice for this race. He's had a lot of laps recently around this circuit. So it'd be interesting to see if he can back it up with another win. But he's got to come from 20th position on the grid. And I've got the grid for you now, in fact, as the cars just completing their warm-up. They've had 20 minutes to get themselves accustomised back once again with what this track entails. They've only had one race, so just trying out maybe a few different changes they might have from the first race. Some drivers may be happy with what they've got and just pounding around, trying to get a bit more consistency and a bit more speed. But cars completing their warm-up now as a checkered flag comes out. And I can tell you that on pole position is going to be Nick McCarron. So Nick McCarron is on pole position. You have Stephen Burke alongside him on the front row. On the second row is David E. Baker and Cyril Thomas. On the third row, we have Simon Field and Linus Brewstrom. The cars they'll start their lap from just coming up the hill. So just coming up Clay Hill is when I start their formation out. Fourth row is the McLaren of Tom Ward with Julian Familas. Fifth row is Wojciech Rabstein and Jose Almeida. On the 6th row is Vincente Garson Martin and Noel Lundberg. Row 7 is Richard Wild and Jose Vergara. Row 8 is Christian Tanahashi and Andres Quintana. 9th row is Ruben Velasco and Michael Stephen. And on the 10th row, the 2 cars that battled so closely for the first race, it's Juan Jose Sanchez and Ashley Sutton. The BSR GT Sprint Cup, 25-minute races is the order of the day today. We had the first one, and the second one, the pace car will be needing them off very shortly for. Mostly BMW Z4s in this race, but there's also the option to run the McLaren as Tom Ward is. And we've also in the past seen some of the rough racing cars, but I don't think there's any of them with us today, although I may be wrong. We'll see as the cars go through. But the leading cars now, that's Nick McCarron and Stephen Burke going around Druids. And this track really could provide some great action. So the cars now just on their last little bit before they go green. Very shortly. The pace car will go in and the race will be underway. And I think it's about 27 runners for you today. Yes, indeed, 27 runners. So it is near enough a full reverse of the grid from what we had in race 1. Only 7 cars unchanged. So the pace car goes in. Nick McCarron almost straight away puts the hammer down, and he's got a clear advantage as they go to start the first lap of this 25-minute race. So it's going to be McCarron and Burke in first and second place. Further back, I think Tom Ward was down the inside there. Was he able to get past is the question going into Old Hall. I think he was able to make a position. So Tom Ward making a good start as the cars come down the avenue into the long left-hander of Cascades for the first time. Nick McCarron leads, but his gap almost back down to nothing because the cars behind him are trying to catch him up, and they've done very well to do so as they're going down to Island Bend, the left-hander, before they break down for the right-hander of Shell Oils. McLaren under a lot of pressure here from the car. See a back on the grass, and they're having contact there, and McLaren's off on the grass. Can he keep it off the wall? I think he just about has, but Nick McLaren is going to be absolutely gutted about that. He was in the lead. May have been a slight bit of contact there from Burke. But Stephen Burke it is, who is in the lead. And the second place car looks like the car there of David Baker. Is that? Let's have a look. I think it is. Yeah, the 105 car. So David Baker takes second place, but drama on the first lap of this GT Sprint Cup race. Now, sometimes you see the GT race has been a bit more conservative as such, but with this being the Sprint Cup 25-minute races, it really is something which you have to make your moves early, but maybe a bit controversial there. But Tom Ward on the first lap is already up to 4th position. He started 7th place in that McLaren. I do believe he's the only driver in the field not driving a BMW, so quite extraordinary. And Tom Ward may want to have a look here on the inside of David E. Baker. In fact, that's not David E. Baker, it's Simon Field. So Stephen Burke leads, David Baker third is in second, third is Simon Field, fourth Tom Ward, and the car behind him is Linus Brewster. Rochek Rapstein up to 6th place, and out those cars who started near the back of the reverse grid, Ashley sat down 18th. There's a car there going a bit wide coming out of Cascades, but Ashley Sutton already up into 18th position. And there's further back, there's some fantastic action going on. You've got Ashley Sutton there as in the thick of it with the number 15, which has gone off from the grass behind him, and that is the car of Alex Millward. So Alex Millward gone off just after the island bend onto the grass. He'll probably get it back, but he's going to lose a lot of time in the process. But Ashley Sutton's next target is the car of Andreas Quintana as they come down hilltop towards Hislop and Knickerbrook. Sutton made a great move in the Formula 4 race around the outside, but thinks this time maybe not to make the move, and he'll go now behind the car of Quintana. But back up front, it would be interesting to see what's going on there. And it's still Stephen Burke in the lead there with David Baker in close attention in second as they come down towards Lodge Corner for the second time. So Burke and Baker very close together, and doesn't look like Burke has received much damage, if any, from the slight contact he may have had with Nick McLaren. Third place is Simon Field, but Tom Ward right on the boot lid of that car, and there's 2 wheels over there from Stephen Burke, so I have to be careful with the instant limit, that not to go too far. But as he comes down to Cascades, he's trying to pull out a bit of a gap. It's 3/10 of the line. He may have pulled out ever so slightly in, and the car in third place of Simon Field has gone a bit wild there coming out of Cascades, and that's going to give Tom Ward the opportunity to pull alongside, I think, but maybe he's not quite going to make the move stick there, not quite far close enough, but it's certainly separated second and third out a bit. 5th position behind the car there of Tom Ward is Linus Brostrom, who's 5th in the championship, so this for him is very good for him being in top 5, but Tom Ward really is putting the pressure on Simon Field as they go through Britons. So downhill top they go, top 5 unchanged. In 6th place is Wojciech Rabstein, and now he'll be trying to get on the back of this battle, and they're not too far behind him, and the cars are Cyril Thomas and Julian Famaleos. Jose Almeida is in 9th place, and then 10th is Vincente Gaston Marti. And let's have a look and see how many cars. There's a couple of cars I saw in the pits the last time by, and those were the cars of Juan Jose Sanchez and Ivan Fernandez. They've both lost some time, so we're down to 25 cars on the lead lap as we now come to complete the second lap. The top 4 as they were the last time round, and these top 4 maybe trying to pull out a little bit of a gap between themselves and Linus Brustrom. We saw in the first race that 6 cars separated by just over 3 seconds. I say that, but Wojciech Rabstein is not too far behind the car of Linus Brustrom either, so that's maybe something that may transpire later in the race. Anyone interested in the progress of our fellow commentator Matthew Dalton? Matthew Dalton is currently in 17th position in number 6 car, so Matthew Dalton is down in 17th. But at the front, these top 4 cars relatively close together, and if anything, the battle for at the front is really going to be quite interesting, because along with attacking the lead, the car of David Baker is going to have to watch out, because Simon Field is going to try and make a move, and maybe he was a little bit wide there coming out of Shadow's corner, and the 3 of them so close together. A little bit of grass being kicked up there as they go through Britons, and I think through Britons the BMW seems to have maybe a little bit of an advantage over that McLaren. It doesn't quite seem to be able to have the pace. But as they come down Hilltop, the McLaren definitely is pulling it back as they go down in towards Britain's. And these four guys slowing each other up is going to bring Linus Broström and Rabstein maybe back into it. The car Cyril Thomas also, I think, is trying to get onto the back of that as well. And it's a spinner. It's number 44 of Julian Famularis. I didn't quite see what happened there. I saw him going backwards into the gravel. So Julian Famularis, we've got a replay coming up on your screen now. He's just coming back now onto the track, and that was coming out of Knickerbrook and going up towards Clay Hill. So Julian Famularis has had a bit of an off there. And as a result of that, now down to 23rd position. So it's a very big loss of position. And Ashley Sutton's lost some time as well, I notice. He's down in 22nd position. 19 seconds off the pace. So something's happened to Ashley Sutton as well away from the camera. So he won the first race, but I think he'll struggle to do that in this race. But the battle for third is really close. Yeah, okay, can do. So a replay on the screen of Ashley Sutton, who's been involved in a bit of contact, looks like. And I saw a car there, I think on the escape road, perhaps. The incident with Ashley Sutton was with Tian Dam. So Tian Dam and Ashley Sutton have come together. So Ashley, who was back on the field before, is even further back now, and he might even have some damage from that. So unfortunately, Ashley Sutton very, very unlikely to win this race. But as we said before at the front, these top four cars are starting to pull in the next two, which is Linus Broström and Wojciech Rabstein. And Burke seems to have the pace on Baker at the first part of the lap, but as they come on the second part, Baker seems to pull it. And this lap from Stephen Burke now is a 1:34.478 for Stephen Burke, and he's gone a bit wide there going into Old Hall. Different lines there for these drivers, and Simon Fields having a moment across the grass there. Back end got loose, and that's what allowed Tom Ward to go past. So Tom Ward into third place, and also Linus Broström going into Cascades trying to make a move as well on the car of Simon Field. He's done so as well, and also Wojciech Rabstein is going to try and make his way through, but I don't think he's quite going to make it. He's on the inside there. And Rabstein has made it past Simon Field. So Simon Field has gone down from third place down to sixth. So a very costly mistake. And now he's got Cyril Thomas on his bumper as well. So Simon Field, not a good lap there for him. The start of lap 6 not proving to be very good for Simon Field. But what this has allowed is the cars of Burt Baker and Tom Ward to pull out a bit of a gap, and Tom Ward's doing a fantastic job on that McLaren. The BMW Z4s do have a 35 kilogram weight penalty as per the Neo Endurance series, who were the first ones to do it, and BSR have followed in their suit. Definitely one of the more distinguished GT championships gave the BMW a 35 kilogram weight ballast, so BSR have decided to follow their lead, and it's providing some great racing, because Tom Ward and that McLaren definitely in the front pack. He's in third position, and he's going to try and put some pressure on David Baker, but this in turn has allowed Stephen Burke to pull away a little bit. 8/10 of a second, coming up to 9/10. So it's Stephen Burke in the lead, David Baker is second, Tom Ward is third, we've got Linus Broström in fourth, fifth place is Wojciech Rabstein, Simon Field, we said, down to sixth place, Cyril Thomas is in seventh, Jose Almeida is eighth, Vincenzo Gascon Marti is ninth, and Christian Tanahato rounds out the top 10. And the top 10 only separated by 6.3 seconds as they come onto their 7th lap now. So a very close and competitive field we have in the Sprint GT Cup, and a battle between 10th and 11th looks to be quite hotting up between Christian Tantaho and Richard Wild. But as I say that, Tom Ward may be trying to make a move here on David Baker. But Tom Ward pulled out there. I was just going into Britain, so the cars now will come over Hilltop for the 7th time. As I said before, Tom Ward seems to have a lot more speed coming down Hilltop. That McLaren definitely showing a bit more speed, but it seems to struggle more coming out of the corners. So Tom Ward, it's very interesting to see the BMW and the McLaren together. And Ashley Sutton, unfortunately, has retired from this race now. So Ashley Sutton, who was the first race winner, unfortunately has retired from the race. And Tian Dames has lost a lap in the pits as well. He's into 23rd position, but he's currently still in the race. Other guys who've retired are Nick McCarron and the car of Alex Millwood. So those are more cars which have retired from this race. So I believe we've only actually got 20 cars currently running out of 27 who started. But the battle for first is not really a battle for first anymore, because Stephen Burke is pulling away now from the car of David Baker. It's now 1.4 seconds, and it's a battle for second, which is really capturing the imagination between David Baker, Matt McLaren and Tom Ward. And Tom Ward there, going left, going right. He goes over the curb at Denton's, and as they go into Cascades now, Baker goes a little bit wide, and Tom Ward's going to have the speed coming out. So as they go down into Island Bend, this could be the chance that Tom Ward is looking for. All this, as I said before, is allowing Stephen Burke to pull away. But if anything happens between these two, Linus Broström, who currently lies 5th in the championship, will be looking to take advantage. And Linus Broström now right on the back of the car, Tom Ward, that McLaren. So it's a two-way battle for third place between Baker, Ward and Broström. In 5th place, Roger Grabstein. He's got about a 1.7 gap back to Simon Fields in 6th place. And Baker there went on the grass as they came out through Britons. And now Tom Ward, we said he's got the speed. He's on the outside. And Linus Broström is also going to try and maybe follow Tom Ward through. Tom Ward, fantastic move round the outside, going into Hislop. So he's going to have to keep it just so long as he can keep the momentum going into Knickerbrook, which he has done. So Tom Ward up to 2nd place in the McLaren. Fantastic move there. David Baker just under 3rd, and there's a spinner further back. Simon Field, I think it was, on the exit of Knickerbrook. It was Simon Field. Simon Field going on the track very slowly. There's a car going past him now, and there's another one as well. So Simon Field siphoning, he's really losing some places, and he's dropped down to a... I'll have a look, see where he's dropped down to, but he's probably down to about 12th position, I think, Simon Field. So another mistake there. It's not the first one we've seen today from Simon Field. So unfortunately, Simon Field making a mistake and dropping himself down a bit further. But Tom Ward, the man on the move at the moment, he started in 7th position in that McLaren, up to 2nd place. And yes, Simon Field is in 12th position, and the car in front of him is the car of Nigel Owen. And Nigel Owen, unfortunately, was disqualified from our first race. So Nigel Owen will be hoping to finish this one. He's currently in 11th position. But up front, Stephen Burke really has pulled away from Tom Ward. It's now 2.3 seconds on the 9th lap. And we've been racing, this is the halfway point now. We've had 12 minutes and 38 seconds. And Stephen Burke, at the moment, as it stands, is looking quite good for victory. 2nd place, Tom Ward. But Tom Ward has gone across the grass there. And Tom... all the cars behind seem to have a bit of a moment there as well. So Stephen Burke in the lead. Tom Ward is in 2nd place, but as we saw there, coming out of Britain's onto Hilltop, a massive moment there involving some of the cars in that 2nd place pack, and it's really spread them out, because the car that was in 2nd position, or 3rd position, David Baker, has now jumped right back to 5th, because Wojciech Grabstein and Linus Broström have both found the way past. And Grabstein started in 5th position as they went up onto Island Bend, and Tom Ward there very close to losing it coming out of Cascades. Tom Ward did well to hold it on, but as I was saying the lap before, a significant change of places. But Stephen Burke must be loving this. He's now 2.8 seconds in the lead. And that battle for 3rd place is now avoiding Wojciech Grabstein, Linus Broström and David E. Baker. They got a bit of a gap back between them and the 6th place car of Jose Almeida. And then there's Cyril Thomas, Vincenzo Gascon-Marti, Ruben Velasco and Noel Lunenberg. That's our top 10. And after a bit of drama, it seems like the field may be starting to calm down a little bit in this 25-minute Sprint Cup race, which we're now just gone over the halfway point, and Wojciech Grabstein there, 4 wheels over as he exited Knickerbrook. He's going to have to be a bit careful there. Doesn't want to get it on the grass. You've seen Simon Field have a moment on the exit of Knickerbrook, but it seems as if Grabstein may be pulling away a bit now from Linus Broström and David Baker. It'll be interesting to compare the lap times between Rabstein and Broston as they come past this time to start lap number 11. But for Stephen Burke, it's all gone a bit easy for him. He had a bit of pressure to start with, but the gap between himself and Tom Ward is now 2.7 seconds. So Ward just caught up a tenth from that lap from Stephen Burke, a 1:33.9. We said we are going to compare lap time between Rabstein and Brostrom, and the time for Wojciech Rabstein was a 1:34.305. And Linus Brostrom a 1:35.1. So Rabstein is a bit quicker there than Linus Brostrom by about 8 tenths. So Rabstein is going to try and pull away and get target on Tom Ward, but Tom Ward is about 2 seconds in front of Rabstein. But I think Rabstein may have the pace, and in turn he's going to try and drop Linus Brostrom and David Baker. Jose Almeida in sixth position is a bit on his own really, because he's 2 seconds behind David Baker, but there's a big battle going on behind him for 7th downwards. That's Cyril Thomas, we've got Ruben Velasco, and a bit of a gap back to the car of Vincente Gascon-Marti, but Velasco is looking a bit impatient behind the car there of Cyril Thomas, and Cyril Thomas has probably not taken the most optimum line there going into Hislops and Knickerbrook, and as they come up Clay Hill, I think you'll see that Ruben Velasco is going to be right on the back of that car, and also he's going to try and bring along Vincente Gascon-Marti, and also there's Noel Lunenberg and Nigel Owen, and the car, the recovering Simon Field, also in that pack. So between 7th and 12th, some very close racing as they come down towards Lodge Corner. It's currently Cyril Thomas who leads this pack, but Ruben Velasco, as I said before, looking very impatient at the moment. And that number 8 888 car going up Deer Leap and coming across to start his 13th lap down into Old Hall. So, but the battle behind Marti and Velasco is very interesting in these battles. Actually on lap 12, my mistake, that from going from attacking, you can be defending so quickly in this GT Sprint Cup Series. Drivers so well matched there. And there's this big pack of cars between 7th and 12th, separated by about 2 seconds. So very, very competitive. And we've got a similar story a bit further back as well. Between 13th and 17th, we've got some cars in very close proximity. And currently, we have 19 cars on the lead lap. And the last of those being the number 6 of Matthew Dalton. He's 30.8 seconds behind our leader, Stephen Burke. And the top 3, as I said before, are starting to spread out a bit now, because Stephen Burke is 2.9 seconds ahead of the car Tom Ward, but Wojciech Rabstein, as we said before, is starting to pull away now from the car of Linus Brostrom. He's 1.1 seconds in front. I think as they come over the line to start the lap 13, it will be a bit more. So it looks like Rabstein is going to try and pull out, but I don't think he'll be able to catch Tom Ward. Tom Ward is looking pretty quick, and Stephen Burke crosses the line now. We'll probably have had nearly 20 minutes of this race completed. So yeah, 19 minutes. So Stephen Burke has got 6 minutes left of this race, but I think the battle was the battle for 4th place between Brostrom and Baker. David Baker right on the tail of that car of Linus Brostrom, the number 71. And for Linus Brostrom, championship wise, this is looking very good for him at the moment. He's in 4th position in the race now. He's 5th overall in the championship, but he's gone a bit wide there coming out of Cascades, and he's gonna let the car of David Baker go through before they meet Island Bend. So Linus Brostrom has lost a position. Curse of the commentator, unfortunately, for Linus Brostrom. I was saying that he was doing well to be in 4th position, but David Baker has snuck past him. Although Linus Brostrom a bit wide, and he's kicking up the dirt there as well on the exit of Shell Oils. So the switch of positions for 4th place is David Baker in that 105 car going ahead of Linus Brostrom. But I think Wojciech Rabstein, unless he makes a mistake, is a bit far away for the car Baker to catch. Although saying that, there's not too much between it, probably about a second and a half. So if Baker has got some pace, he may put Rabstein under pressure. But following the car of Linus Brostrom in 6th position is Jose Almeida, though he's quite a bit further back. And I'm going to have a look back now at that battle I was looking at before. And in fact, Ruben Velasco has managed to get past Cyril Thomas. So Velasco up into 7th position. And Simon, is that Simon Field up in 8th position? No, I don't think it is actually. It's Velasco, but there's a car in between them that wasn't there before. I think that's the car of Marty. Yeah, Vincente Gascon-Marti has made up a position. So as across the line, it's going to be your change in that group. It's now going to be Velasco in 7th, Marty in 8th. Noah Lundberg is the number 88, so he's now in 9th position. Cyril Thomas has dropped down to 10th position, so he's lost a lot of positions on that lap because he did start that in 7th position. So lap 13 was very unlucky for some, being Cyril Thomas dropping down those positions. So he's now down to 10th, Nigel Owen 11th, and Simon Field is in 12th position. 13th is Michael Stephen, 14th William Botha, 15th is Andreas Quintana, 16th is a 70 car. Sixteenth place is Richard Wild, 7th Julian Famieres, and 18th place, and the last car on the lead up is Matthew Dalton. So Stephen Burke, quite an easy drive for him, but Tom Ward, in fact, has really closed that gap in. I say it's an easy drive for Stephen Burke. The gap was 1.5 seconds at the start of the last lap, but it looks considerably less now. So Tom Ward, in his last 5 minutes, is on a real charge. And it'd be interesting to see what the gap is, because I think it's down to about 1.2 seconds. Stephen Burke has lost quite a bit of time there. It is down to 0.8 of a second, so Tom Ward on a real charge for 22 minutes. I think we'll just about get 2 more laps in this race, and this race really can see a dramatic climax because Tom Ward and that McLaren is giving Stephen Burke in the BMW something to think about. Burke could be seeing that McLaren getting closer and closer in his mirrors, and at the closing stages of this race, I think we could be in for a bit more action. We saw some at the beginning of the race, and I think the end is going to be just as frenetic. 3rd place is Wojciech Grabstein, 4th David Baker, 5th is Linus Brewstrom with Jose Almeida in 6th position. And Tom Ward there now straight line the chicane at Britain's, and that's going to lose him a bit of time. Tom Ward didn't get the corner quite right there, so Stephen Burke may pull away a little bit, but Stephen Burke's got about a lap and a half to try and keep this lead, but Tom Ward right behind him. And that big pack, which we had before, is starting to spread out because Ruben Velasco, after getting past the car of Cyril Thomas, has been able to pull out and is taking Vincenzo Gascon-Marti and Noel Lundberg out with him. But as we start what could be the last lap, the battle for the lead, I think is going to be key because this really could be a change if Tom Ward has anything to do about it. So, in fact, we might not even, this might be the last lap, we might have one more, but Stephen Burke's gone extremely wide coming out of Old Hall, and Tom Ward now has forced a mistake out of Stephen Burke, and as they come down through Cascades, the fast left-hander is Tom Ward right on the tail on the boot lid of that BMW of Stephen Burke. They come down Lakeside in towards Island Bend and Shell Oils. They break for Shell Oils, and as I said before, Tom Ward right on the back of Stephen Burke. He's already forced one error from the BMW driver on this lap. Could he force another more costly one? Because a single mistake from Burke, and you've got to think that Tom Ward will be able to take advantage of. Tom Ward there takes Britain's again pretty well, but it's dropped back from Stephen Burke. So Tom Ward, the last couple of times at Britain's, he has lost a little bit of time, and I think that could be which allows Stephen Burke to win this race. It's going to be very touch and go if this is the last lap or not, but I'm pretty sure that it will be the last lap. There's 23:35 on the clock, and with laps over 1 minute 30, that is right. So this will be a final lap and a bit of wheel on the grass coming out of Druids there for Stephen Burke, but Tom Ward, I think, lost this race in Britain's. I thought he took a good line, but it turns out it was quite the opposite. But this is the final corner up the leap, and after a bit of a late charge, it's going to be Stephen Burke to win, but Tom Ward, a very credible drive from second. He's second place from 7th on the grid. Third's going to go to the car of Wojciech Grabstein, and there's a big queue of cars behind. David Baker in 4th place, Linus Brewstrom is in 5th, Jose Almeida 6th, and 7th we have Ruben Velasco, 8th Vincenzo Gascon-Marti, 9th was Noel Lunenburg, and rounding out the top 10 was Cyril Thomas. So we've had another fantastic race in the BSR GT Cup, and Stephen Burke has held on. He took the lead on the first lap from the car Nick McCarron. There may have been contact between those two, but even no matter what happened there, Stephen Burke, the rest of the race, he has managed to keep it together, although Tom Ward put a very, very close fight on towards the end. The gap at one stage was 3 seconds, and at the end it was 0.494, so Tom Ward, a fantastic effort in that McLaren. So to give you a rundown of the top 10, it's Stephen Burke who wins it. Second place, the McLaren of Tom Ward. Third place is Wojciech Rabstein. Fourth is David Baker. Fifth, Linus Brustrom. Sixth is Jose Almeida. With seventh position, Ruben Velasco. Eighth, Vincente Gascon Marti. Ninth, Noel Lunenburg. And 10th, Cyril Thomas. Unfortunately, Ashley Sutton did not have such a good race, and he's one of the drivers who did not finish this race, and only 18 cars finished on the lead lap. And Simon Field, in fact, finished 18th, so there's another moment for Simon Field on that last lap, or near the end of the race it looks like, because he's finished 18th. And the cars who did not finish or finished laps down were Willem Barnard, Juan Jose Sanchez, Christian Tantahato, Tian Darmes, Jose Vergara, Alex Millward, Ashley Sutton, Nick McCarron, and Ivan Fernandez. So round 14 of the GT Cup saw victory for Stephen Burke, a very good victory from him. Under pressure from Tom Ward at the end there. Wojciech Rabstein finishing in third place, he did well as well. Coming out, he got that position up at Britain's where Tom Ward went off, and it seemed like the cars behind him all seemed to have a bit of a moment of selves, and Rabstein, who started that in fifth, managed to put him up into third. So good drive there from Wojciech Rabstein, another one of BSR regular. We've seen the touring cars, and he also comes out for the Sprint Cup. And if you thought this action was frenetic and exciting, wait until Thursday. The BSR touring cars are back for 3 races around Indianapolis. So the BSR touring cars at Indianapolis on Thursday night with Chris Cohen. So that's something to look forward to if you enjoyed this broadcast. And I'll tell you now, those touring cars, exciting to watch. And if you saw the BSR GT Sprint Cup tonight and thought you'd like to see a bit more of it, the cars will be going over to Canada to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve around 15 and 16 at the BSR GT Sprint Cup, and that'll be at the same time as this week. The first race starting coverage at quarter past 8, with the second race coverage starting at 9:15. So for race 1, you will be catching up at 8:15, and the second one is at 9:15. And those are coming from Canada at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve. I've been Dan Blake. Thank you for watching. I'd also like to thank Laura Bond directing tonight. Thank you very much for your work tonight, Laura. And good night, viewers. And I hope you've enjoyed round 13 and 14 of the BSR GT Sprint Cup. Good night for now. Goodbye.